This video is going to be a discussion of red dots on pistol slides and my stealth special pistol. I was an early adopter of red dots on pistols, going back to 2010 when RMRs first became available for use on slides. I've mentioned this before in other videos, but there were a number of factors that encouraged me to go down the road of using a slide-mounted red dot on a pistol. Participating in the Ironman 3-gun match annually, there were often shooting challenges that were at the outer edge of what an iron sight pistol was capable of, due to the size of the targets and the distance of the targets. I experimented with frame-mounted optic options earlier than this, but found them lacking due to difficulty in acquiring the dot and the inability to put them in a traditional duty or carry type holster. The slide-mounted red dot solved these issues with co-witnessed iron sights, making the dot easier to find on presentation, and the pistol was now able to fit inside a traditional carry holster or duty holster. Another factor driving me towards the use of a red dot on a pistol is the fact I am nearsighted. People with perfect 20/20 vision are unlikely to appreciate the red dot the way people with vision limitations will. While I can shoot iron sights on pistols reasonably well, I have never been able to shoot them as well as I have been able to shoot with a red dot on the slide. Using the slide-mounted red dot made a lot of things easier, such as hitting small targets and targets at distance, hitting moving targets, and shooting from unconventional positions. Using the RMR on the slide was not without its problems, however. My first RMO1 worked fine throughout its roughly 3,000 round service life. I only sold it to upgrade to the adjustable brightness RMO6. My first RMO6 lost 0 in the middle of a local match and could not be corrected. I had to send it back to Trijicon for repair. To Trijicon's credit, they did loan me a sight that I was able to use until my unit was repaired. I never had another RMR lose 0, however the dot flicking on and off was a common occurrence, and this was with many of the popular methods to keep the dot on being applied, such as shoe goo underneath the battery or bending the battery contacts. In the summer of 2017, Trijicon released the Generation 2 RMR that is supposed to deal with all these issues and make it a better sight for mounting on pistol slides. However, after experiencing these issues, in late 2015 I was already looking for other options. In late 2015, KE Arms was prototyping Glock 34 slides. Because these were made from the ground up rather than from OEM slides, it was possible to mount an aimpoint micro at the front of the slide. This configuration did function fine, and I actually found it easier to acquire the dot being right behind the front sight rather than mounted at the rear of the slide. Nonetheless, with the announcement of the aimpoint nano, I didn't see any reason to keep pursuing this project, when a dedicated aimpoint sight would be out eventually that was intended for use on pistols. I'm going to sidetrack for a moment. In 2016, the Superstition Mountain Mystery 3-gun match introduced a new division called Stealth. Any pistol was allowed as long as it fit inside the box, with its accompanying magazine. I like the idea of dimensional restrictions rather than restrictions on features. This gives people the opportunity to develop the most effective package that fits within those dimensions and, in some cases, weight requirements. At SMM3G in March of 2016, I used the aimpoint-equipped Glock. But with the discontinuing of work on that project, it left me with the question of what could I come up with that was the most effective package that fit inside those box dimensions. I knew that I would want a red dot on my stealth pistol build. From talking to other 3-gunners, it sounded like the Delta Point Pro was the option to go with. It addressed the shortcomings of the original Delta Point and the shortcomings of the RMR at the time. Some of the improved features included greater durability, larger window size, solid click adjustments, and the ability to change the battery without removing the sight from the gun. Another feature I knew I would want is a compensator. I went with a 19-length slide so it would fit in the box with the compensator in place. This slow-motion video gives you an idea of how little muzzle flip there is with the compensator in place. What this does is make it easier to track the dot through recoil. And while I don't lose the dot under recoil without a compensator, keeping the dot more level and centered is definitely an improvement. I also feel that the compensator makes hammering targets like the double spinner or driving over steel much easier than it is without it. The X300 also helps reduce muzzle flip. Low light stages are a rare occurrence, but I do leave this light on the gun at all times. I've carried with a weapon light for years, so all of my holsters are set up to accept them. The features of the gun include a KE-19 Charlie slide, carry magwell, and flat carry trigger. The grip reduction and framework are done by Weeplead II. I have a Dawson 425 height front sight that co-witnesses with the Leupold rear sight module that bolts to the Delta Point Pro directly. Weeplead II also made my holster that we call the Chuckwalla. I wanted something that would completely protect the optic from any unconventional shooting position and over any obstacle I might traverse during action shooting competitions. The Chuckwalla has performed excellently in the time I've used it, starting in the fall of 2016. I had never heard the term Roland Special or even knew that it was a thing until I posted the picture of my pistol at the end of June of 2016. A few people pointed it out to me on Instagram, so I had to do some research on the subject. You can find more information about the Roland Special on primaryandsecondary.com. I believe this is an interesting case of convergent evolution. As a competitor, I was simply trying to get the most advantage that I could out of a pistol within those box dimensions. Chuck Pressburg of Press Check Consulting, that came up with the Roland Special concept, was trying to get the most advantage that he could out of a pistol that he was carrying in military service as a Special Forces operator. I've been calling mine the Stealth Special because the exact features are a bit different than what Chuck came up with for his Roland Special. Going back to what I said earlier, I think this validates my belief that dimensional and/or weight requirements are the best ways to categorize equipment for practical shooting competitions. Those restrictions will drive individuals and manufacturers to making the most effective package they can within those limitations. After durability and reliability, size and weight are great factors to determine if something is actually practical to carry every day or to be in military or law enforcement service. I've been using the Stealth Special since the fall of 2016. I've had a number of match wins and high placements using this configuration. Now I'm going to show you some match footage highlighting the effectiveness of the pistol. This low-light pistol match demonstrates the capabilities of the Stealth Special very well, between the ease of using the red dot to aim in low light and using the Surefire X300 in the dark. Some people ask if the muzzle flash from the comp bothers me in the dark. I can honestly say that I never even notice it while I'm shooting in low light conditions like this.
Have that guy get here.
What was your time? 7?
I don't know.
There's a couple things to note in this weekly steel pistol match video. The targets are reasonably far. There's also the varying lighting conditions that the shooter has to deal with. Oftentimes, if I'm using iron sights, I get a glare off the front sight or glare on my lenses as the lights are behind me. Using the red dot to aim is significantly easier for me than using iron sights at these events.
Ready.
Stand by.
Yeah, that's fine.
Unload, show clear. 1 9.
This stage is a good example of how much easier it is to shoot with one hand with the red dot, whether it's strong hand or support hand. This is another instance where I believe the red dot makes hitting these targets from this prone position easier.
Okay, if you're through, unload, show clear.
The tiny steel targets on this stage are another example of a shooting problem made simpler with a red dot. Sometimes people tell me that they think using a red dot slows them down on close range paper. As you can see in this video here, I do not believe that to be the case.
Dead or alive?
This stage is from Hard as Hell 2 Gun 2017. It featured 3 MGM spinner targets, poppers, and paper. I had the Armored Division win and the overall stage win for the match on this stage. This stage is also from Hard as Hell 2 Gun 2017. It had a number of small steel at closer range, and the steel at the back there are at about 50 to 60 yards. I had the Armored Division win on this stage.
Neutralize!
Just forgot about that thing.
There we go. Finish
As of the time of making this video, I have 5,000 rounds on my Stealth Special pistol. The Leupold Delta Point Pro has thus far been flawless. It has maintained 0, and I really appreciate the larger window and the ability to change the battery whenever I want. Although the first battery I had in it lasted 8 months before I noticed it starting to dim. I believe the Stealth Special is all around the most effective pistol I've ever owned, particularly for its size and the fact that I could actually carry it if I wanted to. I do trust the Leupold Delta Point Pro enough that I'm building another carry gun, utilizing it, that I will be using in the future. I hope this video has been informative. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and come back again for more match and multi-gun competition content.